Hello, hello.
Hi.
You want to tell them what happened?
Well, the power went out.
Yeah.
What time was it? It was like half an hour before we would start.
Yeah, it was 30 minutes before the live stream was going to start at 11, and everything just went out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're here. We went out for a coffee. Well, not really. We planned to go out for a coffee.
We went to get some donuts.
Because you wanted to get
I
some.
know. I had some donuts this morning, so I'm happy. Pay your bills on time. It was the whole neighborhood, Buffalo.
Yeah, I went outside. Apparently no one paid their bills because everything was... I think we had to drive 5 to 10 minutes before we actually saw a traffic light that was on. So the whole district was out, which is weird.
Yeah. So
And we've got kids buzzing around with their motorized bikes, which is really annoying.
They won't hear that, I don't think.
With these mics, they might.
Are they that good?
Yeah. Anyway, today's topic is...
Date nights.
Are date nights necessary for committed couples, married couples, people who have passed the honeymoon period? Thought this was an interesting topic.
Yeah.
Because I can start before. I think most people think if you're in love...
Did you hear that? Let us know.
Yeah, they can hear it.
Yeah?
I thought that you're in love, you pass the honeymoon period, it's fine. It's a set and forget thing, and you don't need to go out to dinner. I never liked the idea of dating your wife. I still don't like that concept, but I like the idea of going out and maintaining that sort of thing. And I always thought, you don't have to try that hard. You're married. What do you need to? What are your thoughts on it?
No, I never thought that. What do you think? What you thought?
I thought that was reasonable. I didn't think about it too much, but I thought, yeah, why... You see couples that always have date nights. They're married. They've been married for a while, and they always have date night. And I thought, that's weird. You're not dating.
No, to me that always made sense. It's just a way to maintain what you have. Like my parents did that sometimes. You see it in movies also. I feel like that's just something that's very logical that you do to make sure that you keep the spark also and like focus on each other, especially if you have a family.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like getting out of the house. You know, if you've been stuck in four walls and you just get out and you go for a walk or you just go and get a coffee or something, it's a really nice refresher. And that's where I've begun to see it's good. And really, when you look at anything you're in your life, you can't just sit there and expect it to stay at the same level. You need to maintain it. And I think you need to maintain your relationship just like you need to maintain your body. It'd be nice just to sit still and not do anything, but you have to exercise, eat better, do this, go to sleep. You're always maintaining it. And I think your relationship as well, if you just set it and put it in the corner, it will rot. It will kind of deflate.
I feel like this is the same as exercise. Like date nights, they're not necessary. You can still have a good relationship without them. But if you add them into your life, they can only make things better. It's the same like with exercise. Like you don't need to exercise, but you're going to make your life better if you do. It's just a way to maintain your relationship in a really good way. Because if you're together for a long time, you get comfortable with each other. And if you plan in a date night or like quality time, that's kind of like a date night or any type of date.
I'm very particular with semantics. I think I always resist the word date night. Quality time, going out with your partner, it's essentially the same thing. But I think semantically date night feels inaccurate to me because I'm not dating. I'm not dating you. But they are date nights. They're colloquially called date nights, so I get it.
But now that you're with me, have you changed your mind on that?
I just call them date night, but they're technically inaccurate. They're going out for dinner, spending quality time with each other, but something just sticks the wrong way for me about the phrase. I've accepted it. I'm fine. I don't lose sleep over it.
Yeah, but don't you agree that when we have a date night, that's very different from when we have quality time?
Yes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of fun that happens on the date night, right?
Sure.
I don't want to get too explicit, but and that brings us closer together. So I find them very important.
Yeah, I think it's just a semantic word, date night.
You have some like
I know
previous knowledge or like
I'm a stickler for grammar. So do you. How many times have you, being an English teacher, come on,
What?
where I'll say something and you're like, technically it's not this, it's that. And I'll go, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm very on semantics, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. But I'm saying you have like a previous idea of date nights
Yeah.
and you're thinking about that or something.
No, it's just, we're not dating. And I love going on them.
We're not dating, but even if you're married, you should still be dating, kind of, I feel like.
No, I think you should be as into it and communicating and interested as you were when you were dating. That I agree with. You should not be complacent, because when you're dating, you're not complacent. You're fully invested, and you
Exactly.
Yeah. So that I agree, but technically we're not dating anymore.
I know we're not dating, but you should behave like you should sometimes still behave like you would in the honeymoon period by dating. Because that way you keep the spark going. Because let's say I would always behave like we're just married.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable. I've got you. I don't need to impress you anymore. I know you love me. We're good forever.
I agree with everything you're saying, but the dating is only for the first initial period of getting to know. So I can't pretend I don't know you as well as I do.
No, not like it's
but
not.
what you do and how attentive and interested, I agree with all that. It's just that label that bugs me. You know.
Well, maybe we just need a new label.
That's all I'm saying.
But it's basically where you have an evening or an afternoon where the focus is only on each other.
Sure.
And nothing else, and it's kind of romantic, like that. You need to create that environment regularly, I feel like. That's a good thing.
I agree that you have to enjoy each other's company like that. But, yeah, it's just a semantic thing with me.
Do you think it's the same thing as me and submission?
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's a similar thing that kind of, the word itself bugs you. You don't like the idea that you have to submit to me. But when I explain, you want me to lead, you like it when I tell you what to do, I mention all these things, and you say, yeah. And it's like, well, you just don't like that word submission. But everything that you in ways that you submit to me, it's like you do, but you just don't like that word. And I think it's the same thing with you. So date night for me just sticks in my brain inaccurately. But I agree with everything that it means.
Yeah, so maybe we just need a new word.
Yeah.
How long is the honeymoon period? I think it's not that long. For us, it was very long, but that's because we didn't meet. But I think for normal couples, it's probably the first 6 months or so.
I think it varies on you depending on your character and how self-assured and confident you are. If it takes you a long time to open up and speak up, your honeymoon period is going to be longer. But if, like me, my honeymoon period isn't very long because I blab right from the get-go and I show who I am, and hopefully the other person does. Whereas imagine you've got two very shy people that don't know how to communicate, they're nervous around each other. You know, the honeymoon period would be longer if they're compatible. You know?
Honeymoon periods are fun. I know you hate them. You don't like them.
Yeah, I don't like them because to me, I want it to be real. When we started to feel real, and it was fairly quickly as well, but you communicate directly as well. That's why it was very short, our honeymoon period. I loved it when I saw the honeymoon period, like, no, this is more real. This isn't us excited, full of hormones and on our best behavior. This isn't like romantic manners. It's more real. So when that's over, I enjoy a relationship more. Because it's more real. I don't like the pretending and even with friends and...
Yeah, but I feel like you've had a very different experience with honeymoon periods, because I think most people find it a very nice experience. But maybe you just haven't had nice experiences.
Almost all of my, even my 1 to 2 year relationships were just extended honeymoon periods. Like it never became real. So maybe I've just got like some trauma about it. I don't know. But no. Date night, yeah, it's just semantic for me, but I do agree that it's it's a necessity to maintain that which you say is important to you. If you say you love your partner and you put your relationship first, you need to maintain it. And I wrote it down. I should have brought my tablet with me. I said it's a way of something like date nights are a way of honoring your relationship by a night, like giving it the respect of a night, like focusing on it in that way. So I like the idea of a date night.
I think for me, it's really to bring us closer together. That's like the main purpose for me.
Yeah, we decided we're going to have fun tonight, like in a specific way, rather than, hey, you want to go out and get a pizza?
Yeah. I think that's a very interesting comment, the last one.
Guys, if you want to leave a comment, if you can, add 3 emojis right before your comment if you can, just so we can see it. Which comment? I can't tell which ones are.
The last one.
Silva says, I get it. Dating equals courtship. There should be a term for the same activity after marriage. Or once you're in a serious relationship, I think there should be a different term that's equivalent.
Yeah, or maybe not be so sensitive about the semantics. But
I'll use that with you as well, babe.
But people, yeah, that's a good one. But people still going on dates when you're married or in a relationship. Yeah, but I don't know why you have such a bad...
You know why as well? Because I've seen so many guys online saying when they go, you have to date your wife. And it's like, I feel like you have to keep your wife happy.
No, but I feel like you're just giving it a certain spin.
But I've seen people where they're in a bad relationship or marriage and they say, no, you have to keep it going, you have to date your wife. Like, I don't think we would feel flatter, and our date nights are injecting fun moments into our marriage, but we don't necessarily need them. But when I see some couples that are barely above water, they survive just by going out to dinners, holidays, always out socializing. When they're alone at home, they don't like each other. They've got nothing to talk about. So their date nights and going out and dating each other and keeping that honeymoon period alive is the only thing that keeps their relationship alive.
I feel like you can look at this from many different directions, but you're looking at it in like a bit of a negative way, I think. Because even what you said about you should keep dating your wife, I think that what they actually mean is that you shouldn't just like after you've gotten married, just like relax and not put any effort in. You need to keep maintaining your relationship by still going out on dates and still, because imagine like if you always treat your partner the way that you treated them in the beginning, then you're always going to have a good relationship. And that's kind of what they mean, I feel like. You know
what? I just kind of clicked in my mind why it bothers me, particularly guys, is that I do agree to not take each other for granted, but you always hear, you need to date your wife, you need to date your wife. You never hear them say to women, you need to date your husband. So it's kind of like, oh, you need to prop your wife up or your committed partner on a pedestal again and treat them, give 100% to them, and they just sit back and enjoy the date. So in that sense, what I do not like about the date night is, yes, you do all these things for someone you don't know, but when it's a date night, you always hear you need to date your wife. You're going to keep dating your wife, but you don't hear women saying you've got to date your husband. You've got to treat him in the way you treated him before. It's always kind of it's almost suggesting that the guy should be now treating his committed partner again, putting 100% in while she just sits back and enjoys the ride.
No, date nights are 50-50.
Yeah, I know.
They're for both of you.
But I think that's why I feel like you're going backwards. I don't like going backwards. Like, I got to date you again in the same way. Like, no, I want to appreciate you and our relationship now and remember and not take it for granted. Just like when you're getting to know each other in the dating period, you don't take each other for granted. You're very focused. All my attention's on the person I'm dating, and that's great. And you want to maintain as much of that as possible. I get that. And I think what a lot of guys, including me, have a problem with is like, you got to date your wife. It's like, again, I've got to treat her in a special way. and I know it's for both of us, but it almost ignores that the woman has to also date her husband and treat him special too.
Yeah, I feel like this topic is like a very simple topic, where if you implement date nights into any relationship, it's only gonna have good effects.
Yep.
And I feel like you're bringing a lot of extra stuff that is like from personal experiences or other stuff. That's not like generally what they mean by date nights.
Sure.
That's kind of the impression I'm getting.
But I'm just giving you my resistance to it whenever you hear, whenever I heard you got to date your wife. It's like, now you've got to lay down the red carpet for her. It's never described in a way you've got to date each other again. You've got to do it in a.
It's just funny how like the red pill seems to creep in like everywhere. Like any topic like this is just like a nice topic that's like 1 + 1 = 2, duh. And like even here the red pill is creeping in, and now women this and women this is kind of.
Yeah, I know.
Because I know that it's not your fault, but because you've got all that history with the red pill, probably now that sneaks in. Yeah. Well, that's not what this is about.
Well, also in my history, after the honeymoon period, you settle into a relationship. Most girls get bored because they're not treated like a princess at the start. And dating your partner again, going back to the dating them again, they just want to be treated special again. And the guy's kind of forgotten. So there's a lot of that.
Yeah, I know what I mean, but even that example, that's like very American culture.
That's what
red
it is
pill
here,
stuff.
Yeah. I know you're not like that, and the way we have date nights is different. And I do agree that date nights, I wouldn't say aren't just a good idea. I think they're very necessary. They are like maintaining your health, but you're maintaining the health of a relationship. I'm just giving you the initial resistance and experience that kind of makes me feel like.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just observing now that you're bringing in that stuff because of your history.
I'm being honest about it.
Yeah. I'm just like acknowledging that that's what's happening. And it's funny how it gets into any. I feel like you could say anything that's like very general, and then people could twist it into a red pill thing.
Yeah, but it is. I think we can both agree, and I think everyone agrees if you take away the semantics, that it is a very good idea like anything else, whether it's your health, even yourself. I was thinking about this. If you're on your own and you're always just sitting at home watching Netflix and you're not moving, you're not going anywhere, you're not socializing, it's not healthy. You have to get out and refresh yourself to lift your life up a bit, like make it better. You know, and the same with the couple. You can get very lazy and comfortable, but going out for a date night is kind of like splashing cold water on the relationship and getting you excited and like raising you both up again. It's kind of like a spring clean, you know?
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, look, I feel like everything that you just talked about, that's bringing in a bit of a different perspective. Like, I get that too. Like, if you're going to talk about like the American culture of dating, and there the woman is saying, I want to have date nights, but she expects him to put in all the effort. Like, I get that that's not good.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, that's like a different culture, I feel like.
Yeah, look, I guess we're talking, if you've got a good relationship, a date night is you both have fun. But some people, their date night is trying to keep their chickie poo from leaving, and she expects date nights to be treat me special.
Yeah, but I guess we should talk maybe from the like normal relationships, like good relationships. But even also relationships, but any relationship where it's kind of equal. Like the people in a relationship actually want to try to make it work. Let's just talk about those. Yeah. Because if they're having trouble, I do think that if there are relationships where it's a little bit wobbly, date nights can really help.
Yeah.
You know?
Because let's not forget, the reality out there is there's fewer people having long-term relationships. A lot of people either hook up or just last in the honeymoon period. And the honeymoon period is the dating period, the initial dating period, right? Do you agree? Mm-hmm. So hooking up or dating period, the honeymoon. And people drop off after that. I'm bored. You're not for me. I see we're not compatible. But while we're getting to know each other in the honeymoon period, it was fine, it was exciting. But then when it became real, so this is the mental thing that happens with me and some guys especially, is that once you realize that your partner may not like you, not us, right? And not healthy relationships, but if you're bored in your relationship and it was only fun at the start and you have to go back to the start because you don't like your relationship now after the honeymoon, dating your partner again is like avoiding reality. But dating your partner again in the context of don't take each other for granted, go out and have fun like you did when you were dating. That's where you love each other, like the real part where you connected and you were compatible. But there's so many people, because after the honeymoon, relationships just fall off a cliff. There's not many that last. And telling couples that are barely holding on, I'll just go back and repeat the start again, keep doing that, and you'll be able to survive. That's a bit wobbly for me. But again, where we're talking about couples that are actually compatible.
I think that sometimes it can help because then they're actually focused on each other, and they might actually talk about some important things they were avoiding before, and maybe it can make them remember why they got together in the first place, and then ask themselves whether they actually want to work through their problems. Like, when you're together and you focus on each other for an evening. But you know what I'm realizing now? Why I didn't like you bringing in all those other perspectives from the American culture is because I feel like with so many topics, they don't even deserve to talk about the topic, or how do I explain that? I feel like it's such a joke sometimes that I don't like it. I don't want it to be tainted by the American culture. Like date nights, for example, or marriage, or just dating in general, or and then you bring in all that bullshit dating culture from America, and I'm like, you didn't even deserve to be in this conversation. Like, go and play your games over there. That's why I don't like it sometimes.
Yeah,
like it's just like you don't even deserve to be here.
Well, unfortunately, it's kind of like there's this really nice cafe with a few people that becomes popular, and then everyone goes there. Every loud idiot just comes into the cafe and they ruin it. And I feel like, all the loud American culture and all the Western way of dating and the podcast ideas and fighting, it all comes in. But it is what it is, babe. That's why, like, when I talk about this, I want to mention it from a guy's point of view, from my experience, but objectively, date nights are good. They're healthy. They are a healthy thing to do habitually for the health of your relationship. Yeah.
So that's why I didn't like, just like with marriage, like marriage used to be like a beautiful thing between two people. And now it's just like they turn it into a joke.
Well, even sometimes people who are single, they just go to the movies on their own once a month or something. They take themselves out. Now, if you term it like I'm dating myself, that's a bit nuts, okay? But you take yourself out, you refresh yourself, you go out into the world and you try to live normally, and you don't just sit in four walls and rot away. So it is a healthy thing. Yeah.
But what I initially wanted to say about this comment, before we got all off track, like dating equals courtship. And I actually don't, or actually that has never been my experience.
Yeah, you're courting, from a guy's point of view again, the initial process, a woman expects to, or is generally a man courting her, asking her out, paying for the meal usually, driving her, opening the door, all of those polite romantic things, getting to know a person. This man is courting her. I suppose the woman is courting him as well, but you don't see many actions.
Yeah, but I don't see dating as courtship. And I think that's a cultural thing. I think because in Holland, dating is much more equal. And men don't have to court us. We just ask each other out. We go for dinner.
Yeah, I think this is the problem with me. I see dating as courtship. I see it as silver. And I find it hard. Like, everything you do in dating, I think, is healthy. And you should keep doing it because it's fun and you want to. And you enjoy your marriage more, your committed relationship more. But in the West especially, dating equals courtship.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So I see courtship more as, then I immediately think of those women who want this whole list from men before they even sleep with them or whatever.
Yeah.
And in Holland, this is much more chill. It's just like you ask each other out, you go for dinner. It's not courtship. It's just like dating.
You want to see if you like each other. That's it.
Exactly. You want to see if you get along, and then maybe you'll have a second date, and then maybe you'll get into a relationship. It's not really courtship. That sounds so like ISO. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very kind of English courtship. I'm going to court, my lady. Drop your handkerchief, I pick it up.
Shall we go through some of the comments?
Let's see.
An evening out with a ball and chain. I'm no ball and chain.
Yeah, Silva says, calling it date night always felt like I was demoting my marriage to just dating. A wife-husband is more important than just a girlfriend-boyfriend. See, this is the thing. I actually feel like our date nights are more than... What we do in date nights are as special and just about you and I in the same way when we started dating, but they are much more than just dating. So I wish there was another term, an equivalent term to that initial dating phase, to the way you are with each other when you do the same thing after you're committed and together.
Yeah, I just don't get the sensitivity about the term. It just means a night out with the two of you, like a date night.
It might be a Western thing, but I kind of agree with Silva here with a few of his points. Dating, courtship, the demotion of dating. Like when we go out on our date nights, I enjoy them much more than when we started to get to know each other. And like I didn't know this or I didn't know that. I feel much more comfortable. I enjoy going out with you now much more.
Yeah, but then just say I'm going out to dinner with my wife or my husband. Then just don't use the term date night if it's like...
Yeah.
If it triggers you or something. I don't know. I don't see the problem with the term.
Silva says, unfortunately, it didn't work positive for me. I felt my ex getting distant and suggesting adding date nights, but she treated it as an opportunity to find somewhere to drift away to. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a bad example. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, see, this is the thing. Guys think about this as well, because guys generally, there's a lot of women that want date nights. They want to go out to dinner. They want to travel. They want these things as a way of, they're bored in the relationship and they want to go out because they're bored with the person. Now, in our case, it's not that we just go out once in a while. We stay at home most of the time. And we go out maybe once or twice a month, like a proper dinner or something, or make an occasion of it. But we do that rarely. But we're good if we don't. If we can go for like months without going out, but when we do, we enjoy it. But there are some couples that they get bored very quickly by staying home, and they have to keep trying to recreate the initial honeymoon period all the time. Otherwise, they just fall out of love with each other or something. It's pretty common. It might be a Western thing, but it's very common, and it's not just online. I hear it from guys. I hear it from girls that get bored with their partner. You
know what I think the problem is? Is that I come from a very different background, and I kind of have my parents as an example. My parents, who've been married for almost 40 years now, and whenever they went on date nights, like that's my example, and like in movies.
Yeah.
I don't have all those examples that you guys have, like.
Yeah, look at you. The template that your mother and father experienced, you pretty much experienced a similar one, right? When you went out and dated, like the mindset, right? How men and women related. What you expected. Everything was kind of like, yeah, it's all kind of on the same ballpark. Everything is related. Me, I grew up like you. I see my mother and father with their values. I start dating out in the world. It's completely an alien world. Women were completely different to what I saw with my mother and father, to traditional values. They were completely different to what they said. So everything was upside down. None of it matched for me. I was like playing games all the time. You never played games. The way your mother and father talked about relationships, went out on date nights, was the same way you talked about relationships, went out on dates. So it was all, I understand the language. It's all the same language.
Yeah, but I just think like if you feel like you're not in a good relationship, then you shouldn't use things like date nights. Like a date night is I see that as something that a couple can use to get closer to each other, whether they are already in a good relationship or they need to reignite the spark or something. But it's like a good thing. But if you're not in a good relationship with like a person who actually wants to be there and work on things, then don't do date nights.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the couple if they're honest enough. If you really know that I'm one step away from leaving if we don't inject some fun into this relationship, or you just feel like adding a bit of extra fun to the relationship, or let's get out, let's do something fun, so you have to be honest about where you are in your relationship. If you're tolerating a relationship and your date nights are the only thing keeping you there, then that's not good. But if you're fine in your relationship and date nights are just like extra fun, reminding you of what you have, that's all good.
Yeah. I just always think if you're not in a good relationship, then you shouldn't be in there. You should get out.
Yeah, I know.
But I think that's my experience as a woman.
What would you say then, because this was the argument that I've heard from a lot of people, is that, well, if you're in love, why do you need to date nights? Shouldn't you just be good sitting? You should just be in love at that level all the time. What do you need to maintain? What do you have to keep to save it with a date night? Why do you have to keep going on date nights?
That's like saying, if you're ripped, why do you need to keep going to the gym? That's stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, just because you're doing really well, it doesn't mean, now you should never have to go on date nights anymore.
Yeah.
That's stupid. It's only going to make it better. Yeah. Even just maintaining it is fun. Like, I think that's a really stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Look, you've got a beautiful home. If you don't clean it, it's going to look like a pigsty.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a beautiful home, like I shouldn't have to do anything. It's like, no. You have to maintain anything you care about. Anything or anyone you say you care about, including yourself. It's not just couples. If you live on your own, you're a single guy or girl, if you don't maintain your mind by reading and having good friends and good conversations, you will go nuts. If you don't maintain your body by exercising and eating well, you'll get unhealthy and you'll get sick. Everything or everyone that you don't maintain, if you say you love it or care about it, whether it's you or another person or a hobby, if you don't continually maintain it and work on it and put in effort, then it's going to kind of fade away. It's going to break. It's going to dissolve. So it's just maintenance as far as I'm concerned. And the people that do say that, like I mentioned it to you because I've heard people say this, well, why do you need to try? Obviously, you're probably not good for each other. If you have to always try and go on dates and always try and reignite the spark, then obviously it's a sign that you're not made for each other.
Well, that could be true if a couple isn't doing well and they try to reignite the spark, but the spark. But it isn't. It doesn't work well because at the end of the day, they aren't really meant for each other. That could be true, but you can't. There could also be couples who just do date nights just to bring each other closer. Again,
like a lot of these conversations aren't black and white, and people say I'm making excuses by talking around it. But say, for example, Stephanie and I talk a lot to each other, and we're always communicating, so we know where our.
I say that very often. Like, that's dumb. That's stupid.
That's retarded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, babe.
What was I going to say?
I did it again, didn't I?
No, but that was funny. But I was about to say something. Can you remember my train of thought?
And that's what I mean. Like, I made you forget what you wanted to say again.
Anyway. Yeah. Devil's advocate. Yeah. Communication. We always know where our relationship's at. We're always telling each other if one of us is feeling a bit flat or off. And so if we go on date nights, we're never wondering like, well, I want our relationship to feel better. I don't know how they feel. Maybe this will make her feel better. Maybe this will make me feel better. Maybe this will make our relationship feel better. We already know where it's at. So when we go on date nights, we are just adding a fun night and injecting a fun moment in the week. So we know we're not saving our relationship, because we're communicating. And I think that's very important. But if you're a couple that doesn't talk, doesn't communicate, you're just vibing with each other, you might have to go on date nights more and more just to maintain a feeling.
You know what I think?
What, babe?
I think date nights aren't necessary, but they are always good to add. Because with us, for example, we don't do date nights that often.
No.
But the most important thing that we do is we talk every morning over coffee, and we have quality time.
Yeah.
Where we always connect with each other and we talk about everything always. So date nights for us are more to how do I say that politely? For a little bit of excitement, and a little bit of romance. But it's like extra.
Yeah.
But the quality time and the talks in the morning, those are most important, I feel like.
You mentioned something earlier to me when we were about to start. You said you see a difference between quality time and date nights.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a bit?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean that quality time is more just hanging out with each other and talking and spending general time with each other.
Just on autopilot. Just you hang out. And
yeah, where we can hang out on autopilot, but we can also like talk about stuff. But a date night to me is more where you focus on each other kind of in like a date way and in kind of a romantic way. And then you dress up a little and it's fun, like you're on a date. And that's just always fun to do, and it brings you closer together, like physically.
Yeah.
That's so there's a difference, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa, late night human. What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
It's Halloween.
Yeah, it sounds like you have to date your wife or else she'll lose interest in something about you and not the value of you as a person. I think it's, again, if you're compatible and you talk, you know why you're going on date nights, and it's not about saving each other or stopping each other from drifting away, or you're worried that your partner's going to get bored with you. If you talk all the time and you communicate, you don't have to worry about that. It's just like anything else. I've mentioned your health or anything else. You can't just sit there and expect it to be at level 10. It's always just going to get flatter and flatter, or it's just going to be there like a piece of furniture.
Yeah, but also like that's not true. Like saying that if you have to have date nights or else everything is going to fall apart. Like that premise is incorrect, I feel like. That's not necessarily the case, but it's just like it's always a good thing to have date nights every once in a while. It's just like some quality time that's a bit romantic,
Put it this way, I will just say it in one sentence. What date nights are, I 100% agree you should have them. They're fun for both of you, even selfishly for you. I just have a problem with the label of it. But it's coming from the West and the expectations and things. But what date nights actually are, in and of themselves, when you go with the person, what you both get out of them, if you communicate and you're honest about, like, they're fantastic.
But you know what I think is also a bit of a thing here? I am looking at this from a different perspective from other people, maybe. For me, date nights is like a fun extra, like a romantic night out, but we don't need it necessarily because we have a really good marriage. So I see it from that perspective, like a fun extra thing. But other people might see it as, oh, we need this to keep the relationship going. And that's not how I see it. So I think that's a bit of a miscommunication. Maybe.
Yeah, it's almost like your roommates, and the only time you actually feel any affection for each other, there's some people like this, is when they go on date nights. So they almost look forward to the date night to feel something with the other person. But it depends where you are. Cynical Optimist says, dating in Western society, from my perspective, is a substitute or alternative for marriage. Instead of calling it dating, it should be simply called a meeting because there's no intent to marry. Yeah,
what?
He's basically saying what I said before. There should be a different term, like there should be dating and an equivalent to the time you spend with the partner you care about after that initial bit's gone. Like now you're in a relationship, you still go out for dinners.
No, but he's saying instead of calling it dating, it should simply be called a meeting because there's no intent to marry.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to get married. You can also just date.
Yeah, like some people are more religious or more sort of structured that way. They date with the specific intent to marry.
Yeah, okay, but that's the personal thing.
Yeah. But in light of what he's saying, he's dating very seriously, and the way most people hook up and meet, it's like, yeah, whatever, vibe, I don't know, and they don't communicate. So it's all very much a load of horse shit to me. It's just all like, yeah, let's see where this goes. And
Yeah, but some people just want to date and have fun.
sure, but they don't even know it. They think they're... You talk to a lot of people today who are just vibing and doing whatever. They'll say, yeah, I'm looking for the one. They make it sound as though they're really focused on being serious, but they're not. They're just sleeping around and having fun. But I agree, in a general sense, there should be a different term between dating or going out with your partner when you're getting to know them at the start, that phase, and when you continue to go out with your partner on special occasions as well, once you're together and established. I think there should be a different equivalent term.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I still find it weird that dating your wife. My wife is more than someone I date, but there's no term for it. You know?
I feel like this is very, what's the term?
It's just semantics. It's just semantics.
Yeah, it's like, what's that term when you pick apart all the details and it doesn't really matter?
Pedantic?
Yeah,
being
maybe
pedantic.
that's it.
Well, let's type it in. Dating. What does it say in Google? The meaning. Dating, meaning. Let's see, babe. Establish or ascertain the date of an event date that reveals someone as being old-fashioned, jazzy. Doesn't that?
What?
Yeah,
These aren't. Oh, you've got date.
No.
Here, dating. A stage of romantic relationships in which two individuals regularly engage in activity together, most often with the intention of evaluating each
other. Hang on.
other.
Evaluating each other's suitability as a partner in the future intimate relationship. It falls into the category of courtship, consisting of social events. So see, it's all an initial thing. There needs to be another term for when you continue to do that thing, like not trying to find out who they are, but going out in the same way, where you're going out and having dinners and it's special and exciting.
It's so, I don't know if I'm the only one who feels like this, but I feel like this is a bunch of people screaming that they want their own category.
Yeah, but look at it. Speed dating.
But then just
blind dating.
Then just say that you're dating your wife, or that you're going to have dinner with your wife. You're having a night out with your wife. Just call it whatever you want to call it.
I would actually feel more comfortable. It would be more accurate me saying I'm courting you.
Ugh.
I know it sounds cringy. It's very old-fashioned. It doesn't sound exciting or romantic at all. But dating, everything you read in Wikipedia is the initial stage where you don't know. Speed dating, blind dating. It's all, I don't know who this person is.
But babe, if we have a date night, it doesn't mean that we are dating each other.
I know.
It's just a term.
I am being objective with the term here. I'm taking us out of the equation and how generally guys would think. We're talking to people here on... I know how I feel about you. I know I like our date nights, but I'm thinking about, how people think of date nights, how I used to think about them.
I don't get it. I'm too Dutch for this shit.
All right. Speed courting.
Maybe that's what we do in Holland. Because we don't really do courting, I feel like. We're just very down to earth.
Yeah, casual dating. Anything with dating is all, you don't know the person, you just met them, it's not serious, you're not quite sure. And so anything attached to dating is like, it belongs in the initial stage. So that's why it's very hard for me.
Like the term date night. That's why that's... Just call it something else then. We'll just say we go for dinner then.
This is true. Can you remember my train of thought, Bob? 2023. Very, very often. My train of thought in my mouth is like a lawnmower. It's like, where was I?
Yeah.
But let's get back to, do we think what date nights are, what they look like and what they represent, do we think they're good?
I think they're good.
With committed relationships.
Yeah, definitely.
I wish there was another term, but I think they're good.
Dinner out with your spouse.
That's right. Spending some quality time with an intentional time out where you dress up, and it is, I think, the romantic element. It's slightly different than your normal day-to-day. You kind of there's an intent to it that's different to every other moment you spend with each other. So every other quality time we spend with each other is very similar, but date nights, the way we approach them and, you know, how we dress up and how we feel about those date nights is like this extra. It's kind of like a day-to-day version of going on a holiday, but you can do it every day if you want here.
Yeah.
It's like going on a holiday with your partner here.
Yeah, but I feel like it's also very important for intimacy.
Yeah.
You know, because you're always around each other at home. Like, you know,
it becomes mechanical then.
Yeah, you're like in your jogging pants and hair up and whatever. And like when you go out for a date night, like you can dress up a little, you know, and like there's like intimacy and romance to it. That's just very nice to feel.
Yeah.
Every once in a while. So yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they're necessary. But then they're necessary like everything else. You have to maintain that which is important to you. And I think relationships are just another one of those things, a very important thing that you need to maintain with date nights with.
I don't think they're necessary, but I think they're good additions. But when I say that, it's because my premise is always a good relationship. Because any other premise, I'm like, you don't even have the right to touch date nights. Like, you need to fix your shit first. No, because that's what I always think. Like, if you're not in a good relationship, why are you there? Get out, you know? So date nights are for people who have good relationships, or maybe if they're struggling just a little bit, but they both want to be with each other and work on it, then you can maybe incorporate date nights and see if that helps. But like, if you don't have a good relationship, you have so many other things you need to fix first. So like, if those people talk shit about date nights, I'm like, you need to fix your stuff first. I don't know.
Let's read. So we're basically saying a date night's necessary in a committed relationship. And let's see what people said. People left some comments here. You want to read them? Luke says,
perhaps not date night specifically, but spending time together is a must. That said, don't ignore the need for your own time as well. Yeah, I really agree with that. Like, spending time together is a must. Like, quality time, I think, is more important. And date nights should be like an extra, like a fun extra.
Yeah. I find when we go out, or when we have date nights specifically, it's just like a really great bit of extra fun that kind of refreshes your relationship. You know, just kind of holds it up and gives it this awesome shower in sunlight. It's just a really good feeling.
Yeah.
You don't need it, but why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, they're really... I want to do them more often. They're really fun.
We did it last Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and today's Friday. We're not doing it tonight, but we'll probably do it next week. So.
Oh, we have a family thing next week.
Oh yeah.
But as soon as we can.
Yeah, so in a couple of weeks.
I wouldn't mind doing them like every week or every other week.
Yeah.
Because they're really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, I'd say whether it's one of you, but especially the guy, if you have to keep feeling like, I have to take her out again, I don't want to go, that should be a red flag for you. Like, if you really don't want to go on date nights, especially as a guy, because guys usually are driving and paying or whatever, but just one of you, especially if you really don't like going on date nights, but you feel like you have to, for your partner only, that's kind of a red flag, I think.
Yeah.
Silva says, I remember he had a pretty good comment. He said, it depends on the couple. From my experience, just as people seem to need alone time and family time, couples also seem to need couple time away from other friends and family. moments set aside specifically to build and maintain the bonds and boundaries of their unique couple relationship. It could just be a daily walk or early coffee together before or at the end of the busy weekdays full of drudgery. It seems to be more important after the honeymoon phase to remind both partners of the specialness of just being a couple. Of course, these can lead to more intimate activities than that I also think are important in a healthy relationship, but mileage may vary. Yeah, this is everything we were talking about before. We have Monday morning catch-ups, we have Friday morning catch-ups, we always have a coffee in the morning, we never fail to do that. We have these really beautiful routines where we're always chatting, and it feels odd if I don't have a coffee with you and chat with you in the morning. It's just automatic. It's like brushing my teeth. And the date nights are a regular thing. I really notice them if weeks and weeks have gone by and we haven't gone out and had a kind of just a special fun night or whatever.
Yeah.
Because we just enjoy staying home all the time, you know. But all of this is true. Time away from your day-to-day stuff and just catching up with each other and having these moments, I think it's important. And if you're on autopilot, don't be surprised when those things just kind of like get flat and drift away. You want to read this one? Accidental Hero.
In my last relationship, every night together was date night. Not in the superficial way like going out to a fancy restaurant or anything, but in the sense that we would prepare our evenings together, which were simple things. For example, we would go on walks in the park and cook dinner together. I would prep the ingredients and she would cook them, or she would do all the cooking while I went to the store to grab
a bottle of
wine and start us therapeutic bath after dinner and a movie. It was all about focusing on the intimacy between us. That's nice.
Yeah. Northern Bell, Peg says, date nights are nice, of course, on special occasions or just because, but really in the day-to-day, it's the adventures you both share, experience, and explore together that count the most. Granted, if you have kids or other family responsibilities, time alone together may take more planning, arranging. Take time to see, smell, and enjoy those roses along this ride we call life. Live with purpose, on purpose, with a sprinkling of serendipitous spontaneity.
Well, that's a mouthful.
It is different if you've got kids and a big family thing. You might have a culture where everyone's always around and you might need an escape, or you just don't have the energy for a date night. So everyone's circumstances are different. But I think in our case specifically, where we don't have kids and we've got a life where we're happy in our routines, adding a little bit extra with the date night is really noticeable and it's really good for us and we both enjoy it.
But see, she agrees with us as well that like it's quality time is the most important thing, and then date nights is like a fun extra.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I think as well.
I think Peg was talking about the power that went out before.
It's afternoon here though.
Yeah, lucky. David, he says, my girlfriend and I are in a long-distance relationship and only get to see each other a few times a year. When we get together, we set aside one night as a date night. We choose a nice restaurant, get a little dressed up and enjoy a great meal. It brings us closer together and breaks up the monotony of cooking or fast food. Yeah. And I think putting in a little bit of effort is good for you. I notice when you get complacent, even when you're single, sometimes I just like, because you can just be in your tracksuit and go to the supermarket or go out to see your family or friends just in the clothes you have on. But sometimes when you intentionally go, no, I'm going to dress up. I am going to enjoy this with kind of the intent of standing up straight and taking my camera, making an event of this. I want to take my camera, visit someone, take some photos, really go out with a specific intent to enjoy it in a certain way. You really get a lot out of it rather than just like, yeah, I've got my tracksuit on, I'm going out, whatever happens, happens. You kind of just sleepwalk and you get bumped around like a pinball. But if you go out, you've got more control. You're almost intentionally saying like, no, I'm dressing up, I'm going on a date night, I'm going to have fun, we're going to have fun. It's the girl's attitude is like, we're going to have a romantic night, and you have less question marks because you're controlling how you're going to enjoy yourself. You're not hoping, oh, I hope it's a good night. I hope it's romantic. You're making it romantic. You're going out with a certain intent. So I think it's kind of good to go out with that intent of date nights. Okay.
We've got a few comments. Have we finished them? Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go back to... All right. Oh, okay. Which ones? You want to click on them? They'll pop up.
Date nights aren't necessary. No, I agree. If your relationship is good, then they're not necessary.
Yeah.
This one's interesting. They're just as important as time apart. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't really need time apart anymore with Bobby, which is very new for me. So I would have said, oh, I totally agree with all of my previous relationships. But with you, I guess I would still agree. But I don't need time apart anymore, really.
Yeah.
So that's
but
good.
I agree in general, like whether you need time apart or you really need date nights, that should be a bit of a red flag. If they're kind of extras, like you don't need time away from me, but you enjoy when you have like an hour on the couch and you're just YouTubing, but it's not like, oh, I'm desperate to get away from Bobby and like I need to breathe. Can you get out of my face?
Yeah. Date nights are more for busy couples with kids. I think that those people would really benefit from date nights. Yeah, but I think that other couples can also benefit from date nights.
Yeah.
Hyper casual dating is just hooking up. Sure.
Yeah.
The problem is, see, if I was doing streams, it would go quick. Because I don't have much to say.
Yeah, but you got to be careful. Some people say things that if you read them out, your stream gets wrecked.
No, but I read it before I click on it.
Oh, you're just very quick. I'm slow.
Yeah.
The problem isn't the word itself, but rather the connotation that comes from cultural context. Yeah, you even said, like, you growing up, you just see it differently. You don't see the problem. But with us, we've got a lot of baggage associated with expectations of dating and dating a woman, and you've got to date and how men are, you know?
Yeah.
Like many words, confusing at times.
We can turn off the stream if you need a minute.
Because, this is... The term dating survives precisely because of its ambiguity, because you can veil your true intentions. Yeah, a lot of people use certain words to veil their true intentions.
I don't have time for those people, man.
Yeah. Oh, look, I've been on dates when I'm asking questions because I want to get to know them, and they're like, I feel like you're interrogating. Can't we just have fun? Why do you have to be so serious? And people use a lot of words to get around their true intentions. You know, I want to be direct. Someone doesn't want to be direct, and they shame you with words, gaslight you.
But what question could be so weird to ask on a date that they wouldn't want to answer it?
Why did you break up with your ex?
Yeah, valid question.
A lot of people don't want to talk about it.
I'm on a date with you right now. If it's going to lead anywhere, maybe. That's a relevant question for me to want to know. Yeah,
but I've been on dates where they're like, oh, really? I don't want to talk about that now. Can't we just have fun and get to know each other? And it's like, I thought that's what I was doing. Or if I ask a question, what's something you don't like in guys? Or how have your dates been? Like, they feel like everything's intrusive. It's almost like they don't want to tell you anything personally. They just want to talk on the surface, and they want to feel comfortable later and feel safe around you. But I can't feel safe around you until I know something about you. Like, I got to see you, you know?
Yeah, but those things have never happened with me on dates with men.
Good for you. That's
but
good.
Then why would I not accept that and men do?
Yeah, the West is different. Dating in the West is different to Holland. I think if I grew up in Holland, I probably wouldn't have my YouTube channel at all. From what you've described. Again, I've heard some Dutch guys say there's still a little bit of it. So maybe it's a difference also, a guy's perspective in dating compared to a woman's perspective and the expectations that they both have, plus the culture.
Yeah. because I don't date women. Well, I've gone on a few dates with women, but I don't really like date women like men do. So I don't have that whole experience even in Holland. I've only dated men, mostly in Holland. Yeah, so that's different.
Luke says, that's why I try not to use ambiguous terms. I'd rather be upfront. Yeah, just be upfront. Romantic evening.
You want to call it that from now on, babe?
Let's have a romantic evening together.
Itchy.
It sounds very, what's that movie you like? That old-fashioned movie?
Pride and Prejudice?
Yeah, it sounds very Edwardian.
Mr. Darcy. Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies.
Boffin, what if it is an evening? Romantic afternoon.
Yeah.
Would you like to partake in some a meal? Anyway.
That's not very romantic.
Strike Boy says, dating is a way of hiding and withholding real engagement and intent that could lead to an actual relationship? Or is it something you do as a role play when you are actually engaged? Yeah, well, some people do role play their way through dating. Some people role play their way through relationships.
I feel like rolling my eyes. No, okay, I don't mean to be... Look, but this is all very American culture.
She can't act. She's very direct.
No, because in Holland, I feel like when we date, we just have fun. We just go on a date, have fun, get to know each other a little bit. If you like each other, you can go on a second date. If you don't, you go your separate ways, and that's it. And that's why this is foreign to me.
There's a lot of acting and gaslighting and game playing in the West, whereas you turn up as Stephanie and you meet Bobby.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not any more... and it should be that way. It really should. And that's why in the West, there's so much psychology and self-help and borderline and narcissism. There's all of this ambiguous terms and stuff you've got to kind of get a hold of because we date and we relate to each other in all of these weird game playing ways.
Yeah, so, it sounds exhausting.
It is.
American culture.
I wrote a book, sorry. No, it's okay. I write books when I talk as well. Romantic interlude. Boffin's coming up with these. Spousing duties.
What, date night?
Rendezvous. Oh, God. Thai food. Okay. Any other questions, babe? Can you see any other questions? So what counts as a date night anyway? I'd say any kind of outside activity, not just going to restaurant cafe.
I disagree. But that's my personal thing. To me, personally, a date night is like a romantic thing.
You prepare, like there's a difference between saying, babe, you're hungry, you want to grab something, you want to go out or whatever, spontaneous. But if you're actually saying, let's go to this restaurant, let's get dressed up, let's have a date night, you are framing, you're much more intentional about what you're doing. Yeah,
like there's a difference to me between just having quality time together or a date thing. And a date thing is more romantic to me. And I have like a different frame of mind. Yeah.
Yep.
But that might just be me. Thai food is for bondage night. What?
Yeah, well, in Discord next hour or so. I'm not sure. We're not going to be on Discord. I think we've got some things to do after this, but feel free to. We I've created a Discord for this channel, but we haven't advertised it yet. Because maybe next stream we might jump on Discord after our next stream. So I think we've talked about this a bit. We're just over an hour. What else do you have to say about, are date nights necessary for committed couples, married couples, couples that are past the honeymoon period?
Yeah, I think I've kind of said what I wanted to say. Like, I think they're not necessary, but I think they're always good and they're just fun. But my premise is a good relationship. So, because if you don't have a good relationship, then I feel like there are many other things you need to fix first. And you might use date nights to try to fix it as well, but like, there's other stuff you need to fix. So your idea of a proper date night includes getting dressed up? Not necessarily, but I just feel like for me, it needs to be communicated clearly, whether it's going to be we're just going to the beach and take a walk and have a coffee, or if it's going to be like a date thing. But that's just for me personally. I get into like a different headspace if I know it's going to be like a date lunch or a date something. We might also go for a walk on the beach, but that's just for me to put myself in a frame of mind.
It's more organized than just like a spontaneous, let's just do this. So it's kind of something more organized. You get your head around the situation, you get dressed up. It's just a different feeling.
Yeah, or not necessarily dressed up, but it's just like, I think when you beforehand discuss and you say, okay, we're going to have a date thing, then you put the focus on each other way more than if you were just going to have some quality time together outside of the house.
Yeah, I think the biggest distinction is this. A date night, really, you're going to get dressed up.
Yeah, but not necessarily.
But it goes along with it. If I know I'm framing it like, no, we're going to go out and have a nice dinner. This is not just us having dinner. This is us going to dinner and have a nice romantic dinner. I'm going to get dressed up. I'm not just going to be wearing my slippers or something.
No, I know, but I think that it could also be that maybe we want to spend some quality time, but we want to really focus on each other and go for a walk somewhere.
Yeah.
That we could kind of frame it as a date thing. Or, I don't know. It's kind of...
Yeah, I see it as a really nice way also. Say one or both of you are having, had a hard work week, or you're feeling a bit flat or whatever. It's a way of disengaging and going on a mini holiday just with the two of you. Like a really intentional little bubble where you get dressed up and go out to dinner and...
Yeah, but I do have to say it's more effective if we do dress up even just a little.
That's why I said, this is a distinction, a really good one. When you're getting dressed up to go to dinner, it's a date night. Yeah,
so I would say, at least for us, I think it helps put us into that frame of mind if we do get dressed up a little. Yeah.
Strogoy says dating is a social construct and a modern word. I think our ancestors didn't date. I was straight up utilitarian and people got together right away. They had to survive the roughness out there. That's fine, but we live in a different world now. So that's true. There was arranged marriages. Love didn't exist. It was all very practical. And if you got lucky, you were with someone that you also found pretty or you liked being with them, but that was a bonus. Now, you pretty much don't get with anyone. You shouldn't get with anyone if you don't like being with them. It's flipped. Before, the important thing is have kids and have a family, regardless. The icing on top is if you're lucky if you like them. Now it's like you have to like them, or don't get married, don't have kids, don't be with them, don't move in. Try and put 3 emoji faces before a comment that you want us to read or is directed to us as well, guys. I mean, anything can be romantic with the right person. A walk in the park, renting a boat, going ballooning. I remember getting stranded in the woods in heavy rain and my ex was sitting there talking. Yeah. I think this date nights are more... Sometimes you can fall into accidental romantic moments like that, getting caught in the rain or sitting in the car and having a really good moment. They're accidentally beautiful moments, but when you actually plan them out, you go out there with the intent of creating a beautiful moment. That's really different to an accidental beautiful moment. Or we're just driving. It's like, hey, babe, you want to drop in and get a pizza? It's like, it's spontaneous. They're still beautiful, but beforehand, you intentionally go out there and you create that moment. It's not accidental. It's not spontaneous.
Question. Which one do you think is better, though, in experience? When you accidentally or spontaneously, unexpectedly have a moment like that, or when you plan a moment like that?
I don't know which one's better. They're both good.
Because I think often the unplanned ones, spontaneous, out of the blue ones, are like those really nice moments where you're like, this is so nice.
Yeah, because they're perfect and because I could intentionally go out, I'm going to have a picnic with you, but it's raining. or it's windy. There's so many variables I can't control. I might plan as best I can. I could be sick. I'm not feeling as well, whatever. But when you're in a moment accidentally and everything is perfect.
No, you know what, actually? It's not a fair question. Because those spontaneous, unexpected moments, they're always good.
Yeah.
But when you plan something, it can be good, but sometimes it can be kind of meh. So it's not really a fair question, because that's always going to be better if it's unexpected.
Yeah, the planning of a date night in and of itself is the good moment.
No, that's not what I mean.
No, but that's the way I see it. That's the difference. The accidental, beautiful moments, they're always going to be beautiful. They're going to be memorable because they're great. But the planned date nights, you're trying to create those moments. They're never going to be perfect, like a perfect moment where it's accidental, but they're as best as you can to have the control of creating them.
Yeah, but they can be good or meh. So
sometimes you could get lucky on a date night. It could be the best date night you've ever had.
Yeah, but I'm saying the planned ones, they can turn out to be really good or kind of meh. You never really know.
Or bad.
But the unplanned, spontaneous ones that you don't expect, they're always awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like an unfair question. That's what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
True. Now you're being semantic.
It must be the donuts. Because I had some donuts before the stream.
I like the way you say donuts. You're
donuts.
Dutch way. Her vowels are like oode, 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 oode. You're the Swedish, not Swedish chef. You're Dutch, so you're the Dutch chef. Mm-hmm. All right. Any last comments or questions on the topic of are date nights necessary for couples who are serious?
No.
Or committed.
Not necessary, but they're always a good extra.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're very healthy, and they always they tend to keep your relationship in really good shape.
Big Ol says it's fun to dress up. Yeah, that's true. It is really fun to dress up. And it's really good to see your partner like that as well. Like for me, because it reminds you of, ooh, my partner's hot, and that's nice to feel. Yeah. Yeah,
because if you see them every day, like even if you think your partner's attractive in a t-shirt, in a tracksuit, you see them every day and it's just normal. And then when they kind of turn it up to 10, it's like, ooh. Okay. I think we've said everything we wanted to say on this. All right. Thanks for turning up. Apologies, but not really. It wasn't our fault. But the power went out half an hour before we were supposed to start the stream at 11. And it came back on an hour and a half later. So here we are again, keeping our promise. We were thinking, should we just leave it? But then why not? We didn't have anything else planned for today. We're just floating around. You don't want to end, do you?
I never want to end. I never want to stop. It's always fun.
Okay.
But
what else do you want to say? Because I'm done. Unless you want to drag the conversation like a dead horse around the ground.
But I can't talk like you. You can always keep talking.
I can just talk shit all day, can't I?
I need like a question or a topic, and then I can answer it. But I can't just come up with stuff.
Would you care if we could never have a date night for a year?
That wouldn't be fun. I wouldn't choose that.
Would it bother you? Would it seriously bother you if we couldn't have a date night until this time next year? I know your brain's automatically going, yeah, but why?
It wouldn't seriously bother me. It would be like, but then, because we have really good quality time also. Yep. So it would be kind of like, that's too bad. But yeah, it wouldn't be like a disaster.
But I asked you before, I know that date nights are different, but the time you spend on date nights, you said they're different to you. Quality time and date nights are different, but don't you have quality time within date nights as well?
Yes, true. But you don't have a date night inside quality time necessarily.
Yeah, Yeah, the opposite isn't true. Yeah, okay.
But sometimes we have it unplanned. Like sometimes we have really good quality time, and it brings us closer together as well.
So date nights are like quality time plus.
Date nights are more specific quality time where we are really focused on each other, and like it's romantic and stuff, and it brings us closer together. And quality time can be that, but it can also just be us going for a walk and talking about ideas or whatever, and not necessarily be super focused on each other.
I just noticed I forgot my ring again.
I always wear my ring. You can't even see it. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wear mine, but he sometimes wears his wedding ring, and sometimes he wears like a black ring.
Yeah, because I'm always taking everything off. You never take it off in the shower.
No.
Things slip off, you know.
I never ever take these rings off. Never. Only when my skin got a little bit annoyed, irritated here, I took this off for a few days, but
it's gotten
I'll
better
put it
now.
back on.
Anyway. All right. Have a good weekend. Thanks for showing up. Let us know your comments below. And we'll pose another question online. Just like this one here. We'll post another one during the week in preparation for the next stream. And we'll see you. We'll see you soon. If you want to watch any of our recent videos, we did one here. This one here. What people say.
My face in the thumbnail. It's funny.
Yeah, it's basically cliche sayings about what people say that are mildly annoying. Anyway, I'll stop blabbing. Any final words, babe?
I'm seeing more comments.
Yeah, it's never going to end until we say goodbye.
Yeah. Oh, I heard a really good thing. That one about big ol' sex goes out the windows when kids arrive. I heard in a video today, in the first year that you're together in the honeymoon phase, the man should put a penny into a jar for every time they have sex. And then after the first year, every time you have sex, you should take out 1 penny. And then he said, like, you'll die a rich man. That was funny. Anyway, that was my contribution of the day.
All right. Thanks for showing up, everybody. And enjoy your weekend. And we'll catch you in the next stream or video, but most likely stream. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Bye.